Studio Caption Advertising here with a special guest. I have Chandler Jensen here with Arizona Water Extractors. How you doing today?
Doing great.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
So we want to know a little more about you, what you do for a living, what your business is all about. So maybe you could tell us, who you are, what you do, and how you got started.
So I've lived and I'm born and raised in the Valley my whole life. Grew up East Mesa and just grew up traveling a lot. About 16 years old, I got into the construction industry. Loved building things, loved taking care of customers, just loved making people's dreams come to reality. So started with general contracting, big project management background, which later led into finding out about the restoration industry, and ended up doing some traveling across the U.S. doing some catastrophe relief, and that's where I kind of discovered my love for restoration, coming into people's houses and their lives being torn apart and being able to comfort them and help them understand that what we do is pretty simple and we can restore anybody's life. Certain things are irreplaceable, but most importantly is getting them back to living life normally. And so that's where I ended up growing my dream and getting into restoration. And I took over Arizona Water Extractors in 2022. They've been in business since 1998. They were started by a guy named Greg Fife, who is one of the largest influencers in the restoration industry. He built Arizona Water Extractors, which was very well known in the Valley, but was well known in phone books and was just word of mouth. And so when I took it over in 2022, we're revamping it. We're increasing social media. Because 2022 is nowhere near what it was in 1998. So we're focusing on social media. Working with people that can help us grow our business, as well as just socializing. I mean, it's not what it used to be, and so I'm just looking to help people and grow our business and do whatever we can.
Yeah, it's changing faster and faster every year too.
It is, for sure.
So you started at 16 in construction.
Correct, yeah.
So that was in Mesa. You're living in Mesa,
Yeah,
born and raised, went to high school out there.
Yeah.
So you're in high school, just like playing sports maybe, or
Yeah, so
and then how do you go from just a regular high school student to like, hey, I want to get into construction. This is what I want to do. Was it like kind of handed to you? Like, so not handed to you, but was it there around you, or did you go out and find somewhere to?
Yeah, somewhat my parents raised me very in the aspect that you earn what you get. So my parents didn't hand me anything. Neither of my parents were from the construction industry. My dad is a very hands-on guy. He's an aircraft mechanic, and so growing up with that, he was a very hands-on person. He figured things out himself. And so growing up around that, I wanted to be very hands-on myself. And so just some opportunities presented themselves where I had the opportunity to get a job. I actually tried at 15 and a half. I tried getting a job at McDonald's and couldn't get hired anywhere. I tried 3 or 4 McDonald's and couldn't get hired anywhere. So I got my first entry job in construction, making like $11 an hour, and I loved it.
How do you find the job? Was it like an ad on the newspaper?
No, just mutual friends that were looking for someone, and got in with a really good company that taught me a lot and helped me grow to who I am today. And I mean, without that company, I wouldn't have learned what I love. So
working with that company, you probably did everything from the ground up to all of it. But how did you start?
So they were a very small company as well. They were just kind of getting going themselves, and so I started out doing everything hands-on. I mean, flooring, baseboard, drywall, painting, roofing, landscaping. I mean, just you name it, we did it. And slowly transitioned as we grew, transitioned into a superintendent role, project management, project engineer, just various. We wore various hats. So
how long was that evolution from starting? How many years was that? At 16 years old, you start. You're doing everything to superintendent role.
By about 19 years old, I was a project manager, maybe even a little sooner. But I mean, I worked my butt off. In high school, I was working nights, I'd work 40, 50 hours a week and still be going to full-time school, as well as trying to figure out what else I wanted to do. I was going to flight school as well in high school. Just after doing some flights and stuff like that, just wasn't my forte. I like the customers, and I like using my hands, and flight, commercial flight was not where I felt my career was.
Yeah, it wasn't for you. So at 19, you kind of decide that, okay, flying isn't for me.
Yeah.
And you're doing the construction, but you decide to move into extraction, or you decide?
Yeah, well, there became other opportunities. I mean, it's always opportunities, and so there was a few hurricanes and tornadoes and things that I was seeing happening all across, every season. We get tornadoes and hurricanes in certain states in the East Coast, and so I got the opportunity to go and work on one of the disasters. And after getting flown out there and working out there for 6 weeks, and it's not easy.
Which one were you working on?
So the first one was I worked down in Texas for 3 weeks, and the longest one I worked was I think it was 2019 or 2020. There was a dam that broke in Michigan.
Was that a hurricane?
No, it was just a dam.
The one that you said you were 3 weeks in Texas.
Oh yeah, I believe that was a hurricane.
Yeah. So you're 19 or around that?
I was younger. I had just graduated high school, so I was 18, and I went to Texas. And then right after that, we went to Michigan, and Michigan was the one where I was like really into it. Texas, we were kind of the after relief. We were coming in after majority of what was damaged was cleaned up. So Michigan, the dam broke. The next day we loaded up trucks and trailers and was offered a position on the truck and took it and went after it with a different company. And yeah, went down there for 6 weeks, and me and a crew of 4 guys, we restored about 12 homes in 6 week span, which is good, and a lot of hard work.
So what were you doing? You're restoring homes, like they had damage basically taken out, or like what kind of damage was it?
Yeah, so the dam broke, and so there's floodwaters up to about 12 feet in the house. So we were basically going through and ripping out all the drywall, the flooring, anything that was unsalvageable. And so it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. So
that's where you start learning more about like water damage and repairing after these natural catastrophes and whatnot.
Yeah, and that's really why I got into it, because in these disasters, there's really not saving anything, because that water is considered contaminated, or in our industry is called Cat 3 water. And so you're just ripping everything out. You're not saving drywall. You're not saving flooring.
I've heard water is one of the most powerful things on Earth.
Yeah, I mean, water, fire, things like that. They can be the most helpful to humanity, and they can also be the most dangerous.
Wow. So you're doing that. So after you're traveling, you're out there for weeks. You have a lot of information, knowledge already. You're learning more. Being out there, you're in the middle of it. You come back to Arizona at that point?
Yep.
And then kind of how does that...
Yeah, so I came back after that.
You don't have your own company yet though, right?
No, I was just working my way up. So I came back, decided, we don't really... that company I wasn't working for was just doing relief. Mm-hmm. They didn't do it here in Arizona. And so once I came back, I went back to the other company I was working for, doing project management. And later, the opportunity presented itself to... by Arizona Water Extractors.
How does that come up? How do you become aware of that?
So Greg Fife is a cousin of one of my really good friends, and so he was not really wanting to sell it just because he doesn't want to give up the name he created, but he was willing to kind of work with us, and so I ended up buying it from him, and now we've started growing it, and in the past 2 years we've grown it quite a bit. So
yeah, who could be huge.
Yeah,
to have the opportunity that not everybody can have, to have a chance to buy that company that had already worked on branding, I'm sure, but had systems in place for you to be able to kind of piggyback off of if you need to.
For sure.
And then taking it into the new age, where like you said, things are changing so much. So what did you notice about coming into the company or acquiring the company that you either changed or grew or noticed that? What did you take from it and learn from it, and then what did you add to it?
So, I mean, really, all we took from it was the name and some of the relationships that were built with it. But the name and just how the company was structured was not what it should have been for the age we're in. I mean, we rebranded the logo, we changed all the social media, we changed everything, and completely gave it a new face. Because what we had to work with wasn't what was going to fit in today's modern world. So it was really kind of giving it a whole new facelift and almost taking it from step one and regrowing it. We just love the name, Arizona Water Extractors. So
Was that 2016 or what year was that you said?
2022 is when we
2022.
took it over.
Okay,
Yeah,
so pretty new.
yeah,
Yeah.
we just hit our 2-year mark beginning of August. So
Nice, congratulations on that.
yeah,
Definitely.
so it's good.
Has it been like a steady climb? Has it, how's it when you got into it? Was it,
So when we got into it, it took off really, really quick. But even with this industry, it is growing rapidly. And the biggest problem I'm seeing is that so many people are getting into this industry because it's a very easy industry to get into without having the proper knowledge. So our company, all of our technicians are certified. Me, myself, I hold many certifications and spend a lot of my time learning and training and always making sure we're up to date on the newest equipment, the newest standards and protocol. Like we wanna be as professional and bring that quality of service to every single job we go to.
yeah,
So.
what kind of services or products do you offer?
So yeah, predominantly what we do as our name, Extractors is our name, and we like to pride ourselves in arriving within an hour of the call. We service most of the state of Arizona, so we've gone as far as Page, Arizona, Safford, Yuma, Prescott, Flagstaff. We travel pretty much all over, or we have staff to be able to handle wherever it is, which is major because most of the companies predominantly service just the Phoenix Valley. But also most of the services we provide is extraction, dry out, mold, fire, asbestos services. But we really like to focus on the dry out portion because we have some of the state-of-the-art equipment that we can
And what
dry
exactly is
pretty much
that
anything.
dry out?
Dry out basically when houses flood, whether it's pipe burst, your son left the sink on, or you left the tub running, or whatever it might be that you had water that wasn't supposed to be in your home, and it gets into your drywall, it gets into your floors, it finds whatever crack, crevice it can, and gets in there. And so we basically go in, we assess the situation, we have moisture meters, thermal hygrometers, different types of hygrometers, and we measure the relative humidity in the air, we measure the amount of moisture in the materials, and then we make a game plan of how we're going to properly dry it out to prevent mold. So we want to decrease the humidity in the air to prevent secondary damage, and then we want to try to dry out the materials as fast as possible without over drying them or drying them improperly. And so we have various type of equipment, whether it's an eject to dry system that will inject air into the drywall, or we have dehumidifiers that are going to pull the moisture out of materials. So every job is different, and that's why it's important to choose someone that knows what they're doing. So
So speaking of that, like if somebody's gonna come to you guys or go to somebody else, like you said, there's a lot of people who are trying to compete right now, get into the business. It's easy to get into. What would you say like makes you guys like stand out, or a reason why they should come to you and not call the next guy?
So what really makes us stand out is we invest in ourselves. We're looking to grow and to become one of the best companies out there, like anyone should. And we really pride ourselves on education. We spend a lot of money on educating our technicians so that they know in difficult situations how to handle it properly. Because if it's not handled properly and not dried out properly, it can prevent more damage than it could be saving. And we want to try to save as much of people's homes as we can, as well as providing comfort, which is a rough thing when you're talking about an entire house being flooded. That's why, our investment in our equipment, making sure it's uses low power, as quiet as possible. Nothing's gonna be super quiet, but We try to get quiet equipment, but also just our customer service. We have 5 stars on Google. We have a very large clientele, and we keep those because of our 5-star rating. So
where do you see the future of Arizona Water Extractors?
So
What's your vision for the company?
our vision is we really just want to educate the public, take care of customers and those that go through disasters, because me, myself, my family have gone through disasters as well, house floods, things like that. As well as I've had countless cousins, things like that, have lost their houses to fires or whatever the case may have been, and I've seen what strain it puts on families. And so I'm wanting to provide quality service as well as educating what the process should be. So whether it's someone that chose another company or chose us, we want to be the ones to call if you have questions, if you need comfort, whatever it might be. We're here to help you whether you choose us or not. So my biggest thing is I want to educate the public, because if you go on YouTube and you search water mitigation or fire restoration, there's not a whole lot of videos explaining the process. So people have these random people that they found online coming into their house and they don't know what to expect. And so I really want to educate so that homeowners know what to expect when they have a restoration professional coming in. So
yeah, exactly. YouTube is a tough place because you might be able to learn some things on there, but I don't think it's the best place to educate yourself in so many things, for sure.
Yeah.
So them being able to call you, get a hold of you, where can future clients or customers get a hold of you if they need your services or your product? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
So best way is always our phone. We always have our phones on, and they are always someone's always there to answer, whether it's 2:00 in the morning, 4 a.m., midnight. We've had various calls at any time of the day. This last Christmas Eve, we had a call at 1 a.m. on Christmas Eve, and we responded to it and got there within 30-45 minutes on Christmas Eve. So
because you guys are dealing with emergencies.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Take care of it immediately.
Yeah. So the best way is just to call our office number.
What is that button?
Our office number is 480-910-3642. So, or you could find us on Facebook or Instagram. Really just the sooner the better.
Arizona Water Extractors.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, Chandler, thank you for being here today on our podcast on episode 3 of Entrepreneur TV. It was a pleasure having you, and it's a great story to hear. You come from being 16 years old and having the drive it took to owning your own company and taking that leap of faith, because a lot of people are afraid to invest in themselves, afraid to put themselves out there, but you took that leap, and now you're right in the middle of it, and it's a great cause, helping people that are in an emergency or they need it immediately, you're there. Like you said, whenever they need to call you, they can get a hold of you. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's admirable.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else you want to say? Any final words?
No, I appreciate you having me, and I just hope that we can spread kindness and help as many people out there as we can. So.
Yeah, I'd love it. Thank you guys for watching.